This is a Miami Sports Music Podcast Network production. This is the #1 Miami fan morning show. Clock Blockers, let's go.
I know the whole city right. A little early, it's a bit surprising. Business moves, now we enterprising. Switch it up, now we improvising. Go to get in the winter column. Whole squad been trained to go. Feel for life, we throw the foe. Singing this just a welcome, bro. Who that? To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. To a time, to a time. Time to grind, time to shine. To a time, to a time.
What up, baby?
My intuition told me this.
It is Clock Blockers, the #1 Miami fan morning show. Want to say good morning to my family and my Finlaws. What's up? What's good? Bang, 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 bang. We out here. It's Spread Kindness Friday. I am super excited to be hanging out with y'all today. We got a great show lined up for you today on Spread Kindness Friday. It's going to be a good one. Super excited to be hanging out with y'all. Again, I want to say good morning to my Finlaws, my family members. Super excited that y'all are here. Also, hey, my name is Stephen Daniels, if you don't know. You can follow me on all social media at Stephen D. SKPL. Spread kindness, positivity, and love. I'm the love doctor. Okay. Make sure you guys follow me everywhere at Stephen D. SKPL. You can also follow Miami Sports Music everywhere at Miami Sports Music, except online where we are at MIA Sports Music. Okay. MIA Sports Music. It's Spread Kindness Friday. My favorite show of the week. It is my favorite show of the week. I love Spread Kindness Friday. Hit the like button if you haven't done so already. What are you waiting for? What are you doing, cuz? What you doing? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. We are 7 subscribers away from 12,000 subscribers. In fact, this is what I need everybody to do right now. Okay, I need you to stop what you're doing. If you're driving, don't stop driving. Pull over first. And then what I need you to do is hit the share link of this channel. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go share it with 5 people in a text message. Say, hey, go subscribe to this channel right now. Okay? No, I'm so serious about it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make it easy for you. Okay? I'm going to put the link. I'm going to put exactly what you're going to text them and make it a little personal if you can. Okay? And put this in the chat or put this in your text. Okay? Say, hey, do me a favor. Subscribe on YouTube to this channel. Okay. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. And it helps. That is the way we grow, by you guys doing that. When you guys hit subscribe, when you guys send that link to somebody and tell them to subscribe to the channel, it helps. So let's do it, man. Let's do it big. So I want to get to 15,000 subscribers. We got to get 12,000 first. We already hit the 10,000 mark. How quickly can we get to 15? I want to get there. All right. And I can't do it without y'all. And that is for sure. For sure. For sure. For sure. Okay. Make sure y'all do that. Also, hey, look, if you want to become a member of the family, make sure you guys sign up today and become a member of the family by signing up to becoming a member of the channel. You can join the channel and get access to awesome perks. And like, for example, right now, if you guys sign up, become a member, and you go to the Washington or FedEx takeover, let me know, and I'm going to take care of you with something. Say, hey, look, Steven, I'm a member of your channel. I'm not just a subscriber, I'm a member. And I'm going to take care of you with a little something at the FedEx takeover in Washington, D.C. And I'm going to tell you all about a little bit more about that in a second. So sign up today. There are plenty of seats waiting at the table for you. We'd love for you to sign up and become a member today. Also, if you want to help the channel grow by donating, it is Spread Kindness Friday. And you can do it a couple different ways. You can use the YouTube Live Super Chat, which is the $ below the bottom of the chat, or you can also use Cash App or PayPal, which is $MSM Podcast Network, or to use the QR code that's right on your screen, or MSM Podcast Network, or use the QR code that you see right on your screen. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor of the show, Tailgreeter. Download the free app today on your current Crapple. Hey, Crapple people, your Crapple lives and your Crapple way of doing things. Team Android all day. Let's go. Team Android in the building. Download the app today on your current Crapple or Android devices. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Or go to tailgreeter.com and type in FedEx Takeover. Search FedEx Takeover in the search bar. We have an all-inclusive tailgate. We got bus tickets still available. You can RSVP for the Saturday night. We have, look, 284 RSVPs for the Saturday night meet and greet at the Admiral in DuPont Circle. We're going to get over 300 Dolphins fans at that Saturday night meet and greet. And we have over 150 people already signed up for the tailgate, bought their tickets for the tailgate. We're going to be pushing 200 plus people for the tailgate. So I am super freaking stoked about it. You have no idea how stoked I am about this and, moving forward and doing everything with it. Hey, if you if you say, hey, look, I want to go to DC, Stephen, but I don't necessarily have a place to stay. We're partnered up with the Hampton Inn by Hilton. They're the hotel partner for the FedEx Takeover. They are currently sold out of the group rate, but they still have rooms available. So if you want to go to Hampton Inn, Washington, D.C. /White House, do that. We have a bus that is riding from the hotel to the tailgate and back to the hotel after the game. $50 round trip ticket. Make sure you buy your bus ticket on Tailgreeter and the FedEx Takeover. So make sure you all do that. It's a big deal. Okay. I'm super excited about today's show. We got a great show lined up for you today. It is Spread Kindness Friday. And I haven't done a really big Spread Kindness Friday show with this gentleman in a minute. Our lives have been busy, man. Just absolutely insane, and I am super excited about hanging out and talking some Dolphins football with this guy today. It's going to be a blast. I'm super stoked about my co-host for the day. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, Mr. Jason Sarney. I'm trying to switch. I got the board over here. I still don't have everything set up the way I need to yet to make it, because I got like this and I'm not quite sure how to make it all
You're
go.
doing great.
I need to put it like
I like the couch, or I like the throw. Is that like a throw on the couch right there? I like
That's
it.
pretty dope,
I
right?
do. That is dope. I'm liking the fact that you got the Fins Pro Shops hat. I don't have one at the moment.
Vibes. Shout out to Vibes. There's Vibes. Shout out to Vibes.
Great stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
You settled in? How's home?
I am, man. It's been a couple things. Number one, I'm still wearing shorts here, which I love. Okay, just want to throw that out there. I'm wearing shorts and a tank top. I took my kids out to the bus in shorts and a tank top. I don't want to rub it in to you people up north, but I'm still in shorts and a tank top, and it's beautiful. Okay. So I love that. You have I've told people before, and I've talked about this, I deal with depression and anxiety, and seasonal depression for me always kicks my ass in the winter, and it has for the last 3 years, really bad. So I am so looking forward to being in good weather in the months of December and January. So I'm pretty excited about that. And yeah, the house is coming together. We got 20 people coming over for Thanksgiving.
20. You're hosting? Wow.
So here's the thing. When we moved, part of my my mom is from Nanuet, Rockland County, up in New York. You know Nanuet and Rockland County, Palisades Parkway. Okay.
New City. I don't know much about it. Palisades.
Home of the famous matzo ball soup over there. But
suffer and represent. I'm done.
So, no, but you're making me laugh, which I need. So here's the thing for me. We have a big family up north, but nobody like does anything for the holidays that much. And if it is, it's like my aunt and my uncle, and all the kids are grown now and they live in different places. So like I've I've always Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday for multiple reasons. Number one, the food. I'm a big guy. I can admit it. I love the food on Thanksgiving. All right. It's the best. Number two is you got the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Then you have football for like 8 to 12 hours. It's amazing. Okay. And I love hanging out with other people. And so my wife is from Mississippi. So my wife's brother, my sister-in-law, their 3 kids, my sister-in-law, her son, who just had a kid, and his girlfriend, my uncle is coming, or my uncle-in-law is coming down. My wife's 2 or 3 best friends from high school are coming over. There's like it's going to be crazy. And it's funny because this weekend is the big I forget what it's called. My wife went to Alcorn State, HBCU in the building, Alcorn State, home of Steve McNair.
Right.
Yep. So they're playing their rival Jackson State this weekend in Jackson. So we're going to the game tomorrow. So it's my first HBCU big time rivalry game. I've been to a game at Morgan State, but I'm super freaking stoked about this.
At a game like that, is there like an undercard for like the band, like the drum lines? Are like each school
so there's the battle of the bands at halftime. There's battle of the bands at halftime, which I am freaking stoked about.
That would be my favorite part of it.
I know. I'm so like I've been to a game at Morgan State in Baltimore, but it wasn't like the atmosphere was it was like a high school football game is the way I put it. But man, this Jackson State Alcorn game, I've heard like from people like it's going to be crazy. Like it's going to be one of the best game atmospheres you've ever seen. So I'm super stoked about that. So we're doing that, and then people are starting to come into town Tuesday and Wednesday, and got to get the house together, and it's been insane. What do you got going on for Thanksgiving?
Well, I'll preface with this is my favorite time of the year. Once we get into the weekend leading into Thanksgiving week, I enter my greatest 60 days of the year. There's nothing. It leads into my birthday.
I love holidays.
Right. Holidays to me, every aspect of it. The Thanksgiving to me is the best. I'm going to see my entire family in the full weekend scope, because on Thursday, my sister-in-law right down the road, she's hosting. So I'll bring all my cooked items over there. My brother-in-law is a 15 times more intricate, better chef than I am. So he's the man. Like he's like other level. You know, I just do it for a hobby. He's like literally went to culinary arts school.
My kids made me make a menu for Thursday. So they're like, so they came up with the idea, and then I helped design it. We got chicken tetsarini. Did I say that right? Ham, baked chicken, turkey wings, dressing, mustard greens, red beans, candy yams, green beans, sweet peas, macaroni and cheese, potato salad, cornbread, cheese and bacon potatoes, peach cobbler, blueberry cheesecake, strawberry cheesecake, sweet potato pie, pound cake. We got water, Coke, Capri Suns, ginger ale, orange soda,
I might want to
white wine, red wine, beer, tequila, rum, and vodka.
Wow. That's in your home?
It's going to be insane. I have no idea how it's going to work. So you're going to your brothers. Your brother.
I'm going to my brother-in-law, my brother and my sister-in-law down here, and then my brother will be doing his thing with his family up in Long Island. My parents are flying in from Florida, so on Black Friday, my brother and I are going to the Jet game in Jersey.
You're going to the game?
Go to the game!
Are you going to the MetLife Takeover tailgate?
The whole nine.
All right, awesome. Shout out to Dolphins NYC.
Shout out Dolphins NYC for sure. They work so hard. It's a like a day and a half of the event, a night added, but they work all year on this. So shout out to them. They're awesome people, everyone there. and Slattery's included. But be seeing the family, seeing hopefully a Dolphins thromping of the Jets. And then it leads into, another couple of cakewalk games and hopefully a nice end of year trip down to South Florida, which is a family tradition. So can't wait for the next couple of weeks coming up.
What game are you going to down in Florida?
Cowboys and the Jets.
Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve. My family will be down there. Now, we don't know exactly the logistics yet. We got the 2 tickets that, I got. It's either going to be my wife and I, or we're going to see what we can do and getting those 2 out and bringing 4 in, bring my 2 boys as well. So there will be representation at the throwback Dallas Cowboy at Dolphins Hard Rock game Christmas Eve. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. I'm excited for this week coming up. But before we get to this week coming up, we got a lot of stuff to talk about as Dolphins fans. A lot of stuff. Actually, real quick, let's just talk quickly. Did you watch the game last night?
A little bit, and then I got it as a football person. My heart was breaking when I saw him grimace and go down after the throw.
And just
there's been a couple of aspects in sports where you could see a person just try and know that their body is saying you can't do it, and that was one of them, and it just breaks your heart. But it's a little weird with what's going on.
I mean, they have looked whatchamacallit. There have been they've shown the video, or I guess a still shot of him wearing a brace walking into the stadium, and he wasn't on the injury report. This morning, ESPN is reporting that their NFL is investigating the Cincinnati Bengals for that. What do you think about that?
I think they should. I mean, clearly there was not the proper information leading into a game where, for lack of a better expression, they got caught robbing the bank. You know what I mean? They walked out of the bank and there's 50,000 cops just saying, "Hey, we got you." I don't mean to put it comedically, but
that's essentially what it is.
You couldn't have put yourself in a worse case by number one, you got to report an injury. You got to have the integrity of that injury report, or else where's the integrity of every injury report in the NFL?
Correct.
So it's trouble. And the betting aspect, which, listen, I'm not the first one to jump on
Dave
board.
Portnoy just
that's exactly where I was going.
Lungs, because he bet.
That's exactly where I was
going.
going.
What did he bet? 200,000 on the game last night on Cincinnati, or on the points with Cincinnati. And now it's this is ridiculous. I
was going there, and I saw his tweet. And if I slice that tweet in half, I'm happy with the first half and say refund all bets on that game, because
you can't do this in a legalized gambling world. Refund all bets, jail for everybody.
That's where I
think he's being a little extreme there, but yeah, I was having this conversation the other day about gambling, and just I thought it might have been yesterday with Cameron when he was on the show. And we were just kind of talking about, it's kind of hypocritical for, now that we were talking about the A's moving to Vegas from Oakland, and how baseball's had this big thing of, Pete Rose being banned from the game for gambling. And now they're they have FanDuel, they have DraftKings, they're partnered up with all these people. It's very hypocritical. Same idea here. If you're gonna endorse this, and you're gonna endorse the gambling and everything, it needs to be a level playing field. So when something like this does happen, I think it's on. Look, is it DraftKings' fault or FanDuel's fault? No, but to be fair, I think you got to refund. I think you have to refund people's bets on that game if they lost, and if they win, you get to keep your money.
I like to ask myself, if the injury report had a problem with a team's quarterback going into this particular game, what would the line be? What would the fluctuation?
The line would have changed. Hence why
of course,
bets need to be refunded.
That's a rhetorical question. It's basically I'm asking myself, what's the effect here? We're not talking about a third string running back who was on crutches, then came off it, was not on the injury report, and then had a situation where he couldn't go. We're talking about the quarterback of a Cincinnati Bengal team, that the team goes as he goes. And with all due respect to the other offensive players, let's face it. Someone said it on the broadcast. If Patrick Mahomes goes down, they're not the Kansas City Chiefs. So if Joe Burrow is down, they're not the Cincinnati Bengals. And bets and lines and money in and out should reflect that going into a game. So this is a Pandora's box, especially with everything else that's been going on with betting in the NFL.
Well, I also think how they handle this is going to set a precedent moving forward, too.
It should, because, as I was going to say, I was going to quote tweet the Portnoy tweet, and then I'm like, you know what? I don't endorse the people in jail aspect of it, so you know what? But he's absolutely –
Portnoy was just being –
I get it. There. Exactly. But I wholeheartedly think that, if I was a bettor in that situation, which I was not, so I have no skin in the game here whatsoever, if I was independently judging, I'd say, give everyone their money back. This is ridiculous. And I've had bad beats, good wins, it all.
Should the NFL, now that they have legalized gambling, have an independent medical staff make injury reports moving forward? Should that be something that's created with the NFL or all the professional teams for that matter? Because at the moment, these teams are governing themselves,
Well, last year we saw that
gambling. That's a very interesting thing.
Well, with injury reports, and last year we saw a little bit of that weird oddity about the concussion protocol and spotters, and you hear NFL's investigating. So I really can't put my name one way or the other of what the level of an independent medical examination staff or system is already or will be in place with the NFL. But if what we're seeing, or what we saw rather last night, is happening more, and people aren't getting literally called out because the worst is happening in front of our eyes, this is a problem. This is definitely a problem. And like when you see injury reports, you have to be able to take them to the bank, and to go back to that bank reference, they tried to steal the bank and rob the bank, and it didn't work.
No, I think that you're 100% right, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens moving forward. On the opposite side of spectrum, it changes things in the AFC playoff picture a little bit. There's a lot of things that Joe Flacco apparently last night on the plane to Cleveland, potentially trying out today for the Cleveland Browns to maybe be their quarterback. Ryan Tannehill asking for his release, and Lamar Jackson getting a little banged up in last night's game too. There's just injury stockpiling around the NFL right now, and at the quarterback position nonetheless. What are your thoughts about that, especially in the AFC picture?
I really want to speak with conservative words here with the injury topic, because knock on wood, as much as the Dolphins have dealt with injury, the elephant in the room injury has been a non-concern thanks to offensive line, scheme, and the quarterback's ability. So when we're talking about quarterbacks staying healthy, all I want is the status quo. And what the status quo tells me is that Tua's jersey is clean, he's getting the ball out quickly, and it's all by design. So it's the chicken or the egg. Is it the offensive line or is it Tua? I like to say it's a scrambled omelet. It's both. It's a perfect mixture. So I don't want to put that injury concern with the Dolphins, but around the league, it is a concern. And I just think that the Dolphins happen to be healthy to the point and schematically set where, if knock on wood, they just can stay clean. I'm telling you, I don't think there's a better team that's going to be playing November and December football.
I would agree with that, and we'll get to the Dolphins in a second. But as far as the rest of the AFC is concerned, I mean, that it plays such a big, look, Cleveland with Deshaun Watson and their defense, there were a lot of people saying, look, they're sneaky good, right? And they won a couple of big games, right? You look around, with Ryan Tannehill asking for his release, does Tennessee grant him that? And if so, where would he end up? Would he end up potentially maybe in Cleveland? Would he end up, somewhere else that on the AFC side of things that could, be a potential, New York Jets? Right?
I was just going to say.
So because we don't know what, and Aaron Rodgers and the whole situation, is he going to come back by December 17th for that Dolphins game in Miami? I don't think he will, by the way, but
no.
There are so many X factors of the injury thing, of the injury elephant in the room on the AFC side of things, and it's going to play a factor in games down the stretch here in the second half.
It absolutely will. And I'm thinking that with all these injuries, and they're happening, the Dolphins should be in a position to continue to take care of business. And if I'm looking at the other teams that might need quarterbacks that the Dolphins may see, listen, if the Browns sign Flacco, hypothetically, and the way the cookie crumbles is the Dolphins host a home playoff game and they face the Browns, 15 times better in my mind with the Vic Fangio defense teeing off against a statue instead of going up against a multifaceted quarterback. So that would be
by the way, Joe Flacco has killed us for years.
He's killed previous Dolphin teams.
He did. Look, the game in New York that we ended up winning, he still went off for that Jets game at MetLife a couple of years ago.
I wouldn't be fearful with this defense, which is mixed of terrific
Joe Flacco. I still get nervous anytime he suits up against the Dolphins. Okay, I still have some PTSD of Joe Flacco. That's all I know is he played well against us every time, and I couldn't stand it. Especially living in Baltimore for all those years, they always got me with that.
From a general standpoint, okay, go ahead. We can move on Flacco. We can move on Flacco.
Speaking of injuries, Devon Achane, somebody that was a huge X factor in the first few weeks of the Miami Dolphins season, got on the IR. He's been, hurt for the last 5 weeks. He hasn't played. Seems to be ready to go. Last night I feel, in fact, this morning I tweeted, I said, I tweeted that he's going to have 100+ yards and 2 tutties this weekend. Book it. Like, I think he's going to have a huge weekend. And I started watching his game film from the first few games, and he has got a freaking highlight reel already. In 4 games, he has a highlight reel of 4 games of his career. That's insane to me. So what do you think about Devon Achane coming back, and what do you expect from him this weekend?
Going to be a loaded answer here because I'm going to incorporate the entire committee because this is perfect timed scenario. This is an absolutely perfect time scenario. And first, let me give props and a shout out to Raheem Mostert, who is entering this game as the rushing touchdown leader. And he is, if I get this right, I might have to just confirm with some numbers, but off the top of my head, he is 5 total touchdowns away from breaking or tying the Dolphins' all-time leader single season touchdown record of Mark Clayton and rushing touchdown record of 16, 5 away, because he has 11, I think, from Ricky Williams. So he's scoring touchdowns at a massive clip, and he's also averaging about 5.5 yards per carry, and he's healthy. So here's what I want from Raheem Mostert. Scale his usage down in the chunk yard area, 20 to 20, right? Give that to Achane. Give that to Jeff Wilson in the tough yardage. And when you need Mostert, when you really need him, red zone-wise as well, throw him back in. I want to see Achane really take the load of the touches, 14, 15, 16, mix in Mostert very well, mix in Wilson, and now you're just talking about a very massively potent backfield, and you got to keep them all healthy. Because now, for the first game, we're going to see them all 3 at the same time.
It's looking around, the NFL for or at least the Miami Dolphins for years, with the exception of the Ricky and Ronnie era, we always kind of struggled with the run game, right? And and a big part of that was the success or non-success of the offensive line. This year, it's been a totally different story. And, for the first time in Raheem's career, he's not the true number one. And so I think that helps him and knock on wood, him getting hurt like he normally does in a season. And hopefully that he stays healthy for the rest of the year. But with Devon Achane, there's something about this kid. There's something about this kid that he has the goods, and he's got some speed that it can't be taught and it can't be beat. And so I'm watching some of these highlight reels last night, and I'm like, holy cow, this kid is he's fast upon fast. I truly think this weekend against the Vegas Raiders, he's going to destroy them. Looking at what the NFL is doing as far as defenses are concerned, and this is one of the problems with the Miami Dolphins. When you have a back that is a back that can run 100, 200 yards on you in a game, you stack the box. The problem with stacking a box against the Miami Dolphins is they have Tyreek Hill on one side and Jalen Waddle on the other, and Tua at any point in time can throw it above the head. And so now you got to hope that your secondary or your corners are good too. So when we play teams against the Jets, yes, the Jets are a formidable opponent. Their defense is good. And they can definitely be able to play us. And nobody knows you better than your divisional opponents at the end of the day. They're supposed to know you better than you know yourselves. And I just think that, the Dolphins, though, over the next 5 weeks, it could be some fun football to watch. I understand we play the Jets twice in those 5 weeks, but it's going to be fun football to watch nonetheless. And I'm super excited about it. And Devon Achane hopefully will be a big part of that moving forward.
I agree. And here's how I said this, if we even on our show in August and the start of the year, I am getting a heavy 1994, 1995 running back vibe. Now, you referenced it. Other than the Wildcat Ricky and Ronnie, and other than the perfect backfield of 72, the running back has been an interesting position, but there have been sprinkles of awesome tandems, trios, backfields. Now, we're going to throw in Alec Ingold here. I know he's your guy, but I'm going to list a couple.
We haven't utilized him the way I want him.
But no, he's great, and he could do anything that we all dream about him wanting to do and us wanting him to do. He has that ability. But in this scheme, they're using him as per. If they need him in a pinch, and I think he's about to, get into the end zone, he will be utilized. Remember, cold weather, keep the ball when they do have those Washington and Jet road games, that Baltimore game. That's where I'm kind of looking at Ingold more too. A little short yardage, run the ball with him. But in 1994, the Dolphins' backfield was comprised of guys like Bernie Parmalee, Irving Spikes, Terry Kirby, and Kirby was a rookie in 93. Now, also throw into the mix Keith Byers. This is remarkable in terms of 3 running back, 1 fullback scope. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And if you're looking at what Terry Kirby did as a rookie, he actually led the Dolphins that year in receptions as a running back with Dan Marino. If Achane didn't get hurt, he wouldn't have led the team in receptions, but he probably would be getting 40 to 50 receptions as a running back. He's averaging 2.5 a game in his 4. So if you amortize or math that throughout the rest of the season, he's probably going to finish with around 25 to 30 total receptions, and he could have easily hit well over that if he played in those games to start the year or not been injured. So they're going to utilize him all over the place. They're going to utilize Wilson in the short-term yardage situations, maybe goal line. And Raheem Mostert, I think Mostert's going to get his 5-6 touchdowns to close the year out. But look at him at around 10 touches. Raheem Mostert's going to drastically come down in touches, efficient usage for him. Let's run Achane, man. He's a rookie. He didn't hit the wall. He had a rest. So now he's got a full couple of months to go nuts.
Part of the Miami Dolphins' success so far, and even in the loss in Kansas City, you saw probably some of the best football that you saw on the defensive side of the ball.
Yep.
Vic Fangio seems, in the first 4 weeks of the season, I remember vehemently having a conversation with fans on Wildin' Out Wednesday, and even talking with you on Spread Kindness Friday and Cameron on Throwback Thursdays, that looking at the Dolphins defense, oh my God, they're not as good as they were last year or the year before, blah, blah, blah. The numbers aren't adding up. And I told everybody, I said, hey guys, look, there is a learning curve. Vic Fangio's defense I'm not saying it's complicated or complex, but it's designed the way that it should be. And when you look around the team and you say that, you got to say, hey, look, the Vic Fangio and the players are starting to buy into it or understand it a little bit better, and they're executing it the way that it's designed to be executed. And now all of a sudden you held Patrick Mahomes, the MVP of the NFL last year and the Super Bowl champions, to 0 points in the second half and only 14 points in the game offensively. They look good. The defense is going to complement this offense dramatically and tremendously over the second half of this football season. Would you agree? And what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, you don't need me to tell you, for people who watch this show all the time, that I've been on this defense in a positive sense since Fangio day one. Since last year, from a talent-wise standpoint, I loved this defense. I hated the coordinator. I'll put my name on that from get-go. He shouldn't have been there last year. Fangio should have been there last year. Don't even want to go into the detail of the rest of that conversation. However, in this year, when you add the talent from last year, when you add David Long Jr., when you add Jalen Ramsey, now he's healthy, of course, but I'm talking before the injury. When you put all that together and Vic Fangio, you knew that this defense, when all together, was, at least most people, knew what their potential was. We're about to see it. Like, we're literally about to see it, because they're about to go through 4 quarterbacks, one of them being doubled in Zach Wilson if he plays both games. There's no excuses why this talent and this scheme and the Dolphins offense getting points on these lackluster opponents coming up. There's going to be sack opportunities. There's going to be sack fumbles. There's going to be pick sixes the next 5 games. Mark my words. If you look at week 11 through week 15, they will be the top I don't want to say the top defense, because that's really putting me out there.
Top 3. They will be top 3.
They will be a top 5 defense, because right now they are a top 12 in yardage. The points are going to come down, of course. They gave up some points in the beginning portions of the season. We know that.
And think about their next 5 weeks. They play the Raiders, the Jets twice.
Yep.
Right? That's Zach Wilson twice. Okay.
Yep.
They play who?
They play Will Levis, Tennessee, if that's the case, which
on
is
Monday night
looking like that. They play Aiden O'Connell on Sunday. They play 2 rookies, a second year, and Zach Wilson twice. If they can't get 20 sacks, 2 fumbles, and a touchdown, do the math. They should probably get 4 or 5 sacks. They should do 4 or 5 sacks.
Next
15,
5 weeks in the chat right now. No. Here's what we're going to do. Next 5 weeks, 17 over under for sacks for the Dolphins. Next 5 weeks, over under. I want to see it in the chat from you all right now. Do you have the over? Do you have the under for 17 sacks for the Dolphins over the next 5 weeks? Interested in that. By the way, Papa Paul, thank you for your $10 donation. He said, I said Achane would be a superstar from the time we drafted him. Papa Paul, you were one of the people that came on the panel and definitely said that, guys, this kid is special. There's a reason that McDaniel liked him. And you were definitely one of the fans that definitely said that. We got some people getting in here. Ep says the over. Timothy says over. Trucker Sean says under. Bill's fake crowd noise says easily over. Mike Skaliski says under. Epps is now changing his mind to under. BLP is under. I think we get 6 sacks on Sunday alone, Timothy Washington says. Look, I think this defense is starting to come on in its own and form its own identity. And by the way, they have 8 more weeks to really get that identity down pat. So by the time they get into the playoffs, it's full steam ahead, right? And that's where you want this team to be. You want this team to essentially be full steam ahead going into the playoffs. So over the next 5 weeks, looking at certain players, there's something that I wanted to have a discussion with you about, and that is Cam Smith, Nick Needham, and a couple of the other guys on secondary getting more snaps or not getting as many snaps and stuff like that. What are your thoughts about? We'll start with Cam Smith. What do you see from Cam Smith over the next 5 weeks?
Probably very, very similar to what we already had seen. Very, very limited usage. The reason being, we haven't seen it when Ramsey was out. Ramsey's back in. It's been stated that Kader Kohu is the nickel. You're going to see getting worked in Nick Needham at safety. Listen, I'm going to call – right now, I'm calling Nick Needham a defensive back. Like, I'm not putting the CB
That's
next
fair.
to Nick Needham.
No, that's fair.
Oh, it is. Oh, I'm just literally saying how it should be because he's going to be a safety. That's basically where we're going to see him. Because Cater Kohu has
he hasn't played a lot of that the last couple of years, though. Is that gonna factor in there?
He played a little bit of safety. He played safety in a couple of games that I can remember. A couple of years ago, Cincinnati, he got that pick to end the game. He also got that pick. He's gotten 2 picks in 2 of the 4 or 5 games he's played safety. One of them he took for 6 in the Saints game. So he's been working in that group. He's been working. I think that we're going to see some fun usage between the rotations of Deshaun Elliott, Brandon Jones, Nick Needham within that role, and maybe have them slide down in fun usage in support with how Fangio is going to use good tackles.
Any of those safeties, every single safety or safeties or DBs, whatever you want to call them, that you just named, are great at open field tackling.
That's why they're there.
And are great at making sure nothing gets past Cater Kohu, Cam Smith, and Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey, and those guys
for Cam Smith
do their own thing.
To get back to Cam Smith, and we've seen this kind of pattern for maybe working or not working, and it's recent. They're going to draft players not for necessarily this season, but for development. And I know
Cam is a future guy.
He's a developmental pick. And I listen, we're in an immediate wanting results now situation, but let me just tell you where we've gotten with this. We didn't have a first round pick. They have a non-used second round pick, and we've had 4 games of a running back third round pick and virtually nothing else. And they're a 6-3 first place team in the AFC, and now everything's starting to come together. So I don't care.
And people are getting healthy.
Right. So I don't care about where we had Cam Smith. I'm going to look at Cam Smith in 2 years when we might not be looking at Xavier Howard, and Cam Smith might have to be that replacement. So we'll know if they're going to have to think long-term on him. But maybe in 2 years from now, his development is there already, because next year is when he should be thrown in more. I don't think we're going to be seeing a massive Cam Smith spike this season.
I love having this conversation. And a big part of having this conversation, Jason, is because of the return of Jalen Ramsey. And Jalen has been such an intricate part of this defensive scheme, all the way from training camp, and they haven't been able to utilize him until last game in Germany. And you saw right away the difference that Jalen Ramsey makes on the field. Another week of Jalen Ramsey playing on the field against Vegas. What do you expect to see from Jalen this week? And the players that we just kind of talk about, Cater Kohu, Cam Smith, Nick Needham, how are they going to benefit from having Jalen on the field?
This is my prediction for the Raiders game. A lot of sacks and a lot of picks. When I say a lot of picks, multiple picks. Because you're having a rookie quarterback on the road after 2 wins with a new head coach going now to only really throwing to Devontae Adams when they're probably going to be down. He's going to drop back. He's going to not have him open all the time. He's going to get sacked by one of the 5 guys who already has over 3.5 sacks for the Dolphins. Only 2 other teams can say that. They got 5 sack artists right now. They're going to be coming after a rookie. It's beautiful. I mean, they got 2 guys who are getting sacks from pressure, and Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer. And then you have 3 guys who are getting sacks by design because they should, in Chubb Phillips and Andrew Van Ginkel. And Van Ginkel is playing pound for pound, dollar for dollar, snap for snap, best football on the Dolphins defense. Bradley Chubb is playing at a level where we could say, damn, that was a good trade, wasn't it? Were we saying that 3 months ago? It was a great trade. Look what he's doing. I mean, just look. So you're going to now have these guys coming after a rookie quarterback saying to himself, all right, bad thrower, get sacked. Sack. And then they're going to be down 27-6. And then they're just going to have to throw while getting hit. Pick. Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard are going to put people on islands. Then you got the internal defensive backs, Javon Holland, Deshaun Elliott, grading out at phenomenal coverage years. This guy's, if I'm wrong, clip it. I don't care. This kid's screwed.
I don't think
kid's screwed. He's screwed. If they don't do what I'm saying, I'm going to be ticked off, frankly.
So that kind of brings me up to something that I think is very interesting. Expectations compared to, reality. Expectations versus reality. Expectations are over the next 5 weeks is the Dolphins need to, pretty much take care of business handedly is probably the word that we should use. None of these games over the next 5 weeks should be close if you think about it. If they are close, does that change your view or your perception going into the final 3 weeks of the season? And again, remember, we are playing, a Vegas team that is rejuvenated. We are playing, a rookie quarterback in Will Levi, who has already shown in one other game, in another game so far this year, that when he wants to turn on the switch, he has the ability to do it. Will he do it? I don't know. Right. But they still have DeAndre Hopkins. They still have, what's his face in the backfield. And they're still a decent team from that standpoint. And then looking around, the Jets, their defense is still a top 10 defense in this league. And, it's going to be interesting. So what are your thoughts about how the next 5 games play out? If they struggle against any of these teams, does it change your outlook for the final 3 games for the Dolphins?
I mean, if we're going game by game, I just mentioned I see really not a lot of trouble handling the Raiders. So if we're talking a squeak out victory or God forbid worse, we could talk about that after. If we're going to go into the Jets, look, you referenced it before. Divisional opponents know you. They have a terrific defense. It's going to be close. Let's just call that. And then Washington, to me, is a weird game. Let's just put a pin on that for a second. And then you have a game against a rookie and Will Levis, and then you have a home game against
Will
the Jets.
Levis,
at that point,
Levi, whatever his name is.
Levis. We got the S there. So, and then the Jets go into the Dolphins, and their season could be over. I mean, 2 more losses from the Jets, 3 more. Why are you bringing Aaron Rodgers back and you're playing for drafting at this point? I mean, come on, So that just could be a cakewalk game. So the reason I said put a pin on the Washington game is because I am literally going to give them 4-1 just because I don't want to be that guy to say 5-0 in the next 5 games.
I've been saying I've said they're going 5-0.
The reason why, look, I hope I'm wrong. I do feel that they can get to 5-0 in the next 5 games, but if they fall at 4-1, I hate.
Nobody's going to be upset.
But I hate picking a loss. But with the way math will work out, hopefully, if you lose one of these next 8 games to an NFC team, it probably will not affect their playoff positioning. So if there is one loss on the board if someone puts a gun to my head and says, what loss do you want? Because you're going to go 7-1, deal with the devil. 7-1 right now. Do you sign that deal? Sight unseen. I signed it and say, give me that Commanders loss because I don't care. It won't hurt us. A 4-loss team.
Hey man, I'm throwing a big ass tailgate in DC, man. I want to be there for a win, Jason.
You know what I'm saying. My logic there. Well, I'll say the Cowboy lost there because it's more realistic. It's a home game, but my point is
they're not losing at home this year.
My point is, if there's a loss on the board, you want it to not affect your overall AFC East playoff positioning because at this point, to not win the division will be a massive letdown because the Bills aren't taking care of business.
Yeah, but essentially a 2-game cushion today.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. They should win the division because that's like a lock at this point. Knock on wood. That's like what we need.
According to the New York Times playoff predictor, we have a 94% chance of making the playoffs, and we have it's like a 70 or 68 or 74% chance of winning the division or something like that. So
if this team sneaks up to the 2, and they get one home playoff game, it is a mathematical equation that they're playing for an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl.
Well, they'll get 2 home playoff games because they'll have to play.
I'm just saying that they will. If they get one game to play, they will get an opportunity because they'll take care of business and they'll go on to the next round after having, they will take care of business. I give no doubt in my mind that if they get a home playoff game, they're going to be playing an AFC Championship game with that momentum.
Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. If you haven't done so already, hit the like button. Only 39 likes, over 100 of y'all watching right now. So hit the like button, share the link, let your friends know that we're live and that we're on. Can't grow without your help. Make sure, as a reminder, you guys are always updated on the latest Miami Dolphins content and fan event. And how do you do that? Well, you do it one way and one way only, and that is Dolph Fans Weekly. If you guys take the QR link that you see on your screen right now and do it, you guys can go sign up for Dolph Fans Weekly. And I want to say the latest Dolph Fans Weekly is coming out. When is it coming out, Jason?
Today.
Did it already come out? Today. So
this afternoon.
Be on the lookout for it. Dolph Fans Weekly. And it has all the latest content from all your favorite Miami Dolphins content creators, including yours truly, myself, as well as Jason Sarney. So make sure you guys do that today. All right. Let's talk about a few other things that I think need to be discussed as we move forward into this weekend's game. And one of those is Tua. You know, we talked about him yesterday on Throwback Thursday with Cameron. And over the next 5 weeks, I have stated, look, Dolphins are going to take it. They're going to go 5-0. Just looking at everything, Tua needs to also play at a high level too. I think Tua is an MVP candidate as we speak. And if he plays amazing over the next 5 weeks, he's really going to be there right at the end. Now, Tua at the end of the year, we don't know what Tua is going into late November, early December. He's played some good games, but we've lost some of those games, right? What do you want to see from Tua this weekend so that he still keeps his name in the MVP candidate race?
A win, a clean win, meaning just get out healthy with the win. Now, do I need Tua to go 345, 3-0 for him to stay at or increase his MVP chances? Absolutely not. 250, 2-0 would do that for me with a W. He just needs to stay at his status quo. If he continues to play at his level and the Dolphins are winning, he's an MVP candidate, top 2 or 3. And then you sprinkle in 1 or 2 more of those epic games, and if he can finish 1-2 in the majority of the quarterback categories, he should be the MVP. To me,
now his competition, by the way, is a rookie playing in Houston right now, and CJ Stroud.
He's got a couple people.
You also have Patty Mahomes, right? You have Patrick Mahomes, who's there in the MVP conversation.
I don't want to throw a political aspect. When I say political, football award politics, nothing else. If you're looking at how to distribute awards internally for the Dolphins right now, to me, the math would say Tyreek Hill's the offensive player of the year. Give him the offensive player of the year because he's the offensive fucking player of the year. Pardon my French. Who else is going for 2? He's the offensive player of the year. Done. Now, most valuable player to the team. We all know the numbers of Tyreek Hill last year without Tua. Ain't good. And we see what Tua does versus a backup quarterback in the last couple of years. Tua is the most valuable player on this team. He's the MVP. CJ is the rookie of the year. That's the politics.
If Tyreek gets 2,000 yards and Tua still puts up the numbers to obviously be in the MVP candidate,
I won't change my mind. No, it's not an award given. The MVPs will not be given to a wide receiver.
And for your political aspect, I'm saying that I think Tyreek will win it because he'll have gotten 2,000 yards of a wide receiver, and nobody's ever done that. So
correct, but if
he breaks 2K, he's getting the MVP.
Nope.
I'm telling you, it's going to happen.
I'm telling you, it won't.
Okay. When he breaks 2K, and he will, as far as I'm concerned.
If he gets 1,999, or if he gets 2,002, those 3 yards are going to put him into the MVP.
100%. Yes. 100%.
It's never happened. I mean, MVPs
nobody's ever done 2,000 yards, Jason.
I get that, but I'm not discounting it. I'm not, but we've had 8 receivers win or 12 receivers win the Triple Crown. And we've had Jerry Rice score a touchdown in every single game of the strike shortened year. They didn't win the MVP. You have to, I get 2,000.
But number two,
but someone else won the MVP. Montana won the MVP.
Don't bring my cousin into this, okay? Don't bring Jerry into this, okay?
But your cousin lost to his quarterback. That's what I'm saying.
For those of you who are watching and don't know, I am related to Jerry Rice through marriage.
To me, if NFL voters, and I'm not one, clearly, they're going to give it to a quarterback. If a quarterback leads the league across the board in the top 2 stats, and the guy who got 2,000 yards was from that quarterback, it is, I'll give it 99.9% to Tua, because I'm not going to say 100% for anything.
Let's talk a little bit about Tua. You know, we discussed this yesterday on the show, so I'm not necessarily going to give my full take on it because a lot of the fans know how I feel, but I am interested to know your take. Tua showing up to the press conference, cornrows. He just seems to be so charismatic and just has this swagger about him. Jason, what is your thoughts on the confidence level of Tua right now and how he is as a teammate and just, you know, a leader?
Hey man, he's got the confidence, he's got that aura, that glow. He's having fun, he's playing great. It shows what all those silly little intangibles can do versus the complete opposite. Playing, you know, very nervous about losing a job, playing like stiff, rigid, tight, because, you know, you don't have the belief in a coach or you know what I mean? Like now his personality is showing. Last year, I had an opportunity to, you know, get down there, cover the game. And it was, I believe, right after the Cleveland game. It was about a year ago to this day, right? When they were going into the bye week. And Tua was on top of the world. You know, he had a great game. They were coming off, I think, a 4th straight win. And he was answering questions to the press. And the press, you know, me included, we had a couple of questions. Then at the end of it, he was like, all right, any more questions? Who's got more? Like he was so having fun. You know, and that's the Tua you need, and we're seeing it now. But from that point to me to this point, in that 365 days, he's elevated. Like he's like, how do I say it? It's almost like he's got like a glow around him that certain players get, and he earned it. Like he is now an elite quarterback. I truly believe he is an elite player in this league.
I 100% agree with you. Now, let me also ask the question. The last 4 plays of the very last game he played were not good and were not elite and were not something that is an MVP candidate. How does Tua take what happened in the last 4 plays of the Kansas City game and say, you know what, I'm not letting this hair. I'm not. I said hair because people are talking about the hair in the chat. I'm not letting these last 4 plays get to me, and I'm going to take this and keep it and use it as motivation to move forward this year with the rest of the in the second half of the season.
I mean, you know, I think the best athletes have short-term memory, good and bad. I really do. I think that he should just forget about it and move on. I mean, it's easier said than done, but he has the ability to put up 2 catches for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns like that. And 1 or 2 wins, we forget about that game. If we see the Chiefs again, we'll talk about it then. But great players forget good and bad real quick.
I'm not going to lie. I sneakily hope that we see them in the AFC Championship game.
Me too, because
because if Tua beats Patrick Mahomes, the defending Super Bowl champions, in an AFC Championship game, to go to the Super Bowl and then win the Super Bowl, he's officially goated. He's officially goated. It shuts
mouths. It shuts mouths. That's all I care about.
What'd you say? You're talking about the guy who beat Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game to take us to a Super Bowl? Shut up. Don't ever talk again. Shut your hater mouths. That's exactly what I'll say. True story. I'll be just like
I don't mean to. I love Tyreek Hill. I really, truly do. But and all I'm going to say is this. The first ever wide receiver MVP will probably not be Tyreek Hill optically from the voters. I'll just say that.
That's political too. And
it is. It is. And I hate saying it, but if you're going to just throw out the quarterback, I will be a little shocked if any MVP is a wide receiver.
And I disagree.
When a quarterback that throws to him.
I disagree with you because I think Tyreek, like, you know why I disagree with you? Because there are kids running around in and all over the country for that matter. Forget just South Florida, wearing number 10 Miami Dolphin jerseys. And
what he does is great.
He is and he is connecting with the younger generation of football fans.
I agree.
He does it through Twitch. He does it through Twitch. He does it through his podcast. I'm telling you right now, I think Tyreek Hill is a man of the people. I love Tyreek. I'm about Tyreek. I'm about Cheetah. And if he gets to 2,000 yards, I love Tua. And I'm just, the man deserves the MVP if he gets to 2,000 yards. He does. He deserves
I will tell you this. I will tell you this. What I would absolutely love, because I don't think he doesn't deserve it. That's the thing. It's like if Tua was throwing more picks, throwing less yards, and skewing more down in quarterback rating, and it was almost like, wow, Tyreek Hill is actually taking 2-yard passes and running 80 yards for touchdowns. That's not the case. Tua is throwing him these rockets, these deep bombs. If you really want to dissect it, if you want to go something crazy, which I would think is really cool, co-MVP it. Co-MVP it. Because if you literally do that through the NFL, who's going to have a problem? They will, because they've co-MVP'd it before. I believe it was Steve McNair who shared an MVP with, I want to say, Peyton Manning. Hold on.
I was about to say, has there been a
Steve McNair Steve McNair won the co-MVP with Peyton Manning in 2003. So yes, there have been 2 quarterbacks to have seasons, whereas 2 gentlemen have gotten the NFL MVP. So nobody
would argue.
No one will. Let me tell you this right now.
And Tyreek. All right, I'm making shirts. I'm getting shirts made up. Tyreek and Tua, 2023 MVP.
Put it out there. Can we splice it? TikTok it. Let's get the campaign going. Co-MVPs. The NFL did it 20 years ago. They're going to do it again. Co-MVPs. Tua to Tyreek Hill. Clock.
Doing it, baby.
Blockers. Spread Kindness Friday. We birthed it. Co-MVPs. We birthed it.
Who doesn't love that? And you know what? I didn't even think about that as an option. And now that I know that there's been precedent for it in the past, I'm on board. I'm 100% on board. I'm ready to go.
I don't want to tweet. The reason why I don't want to tweet it. That's not something to tweet. Because I don't want
except when we clip it and then put it in TikTok and then share it everywhere.
That's fine. Because when you look at how it happened, again, this isn't just a wide receiver taking little slants and going the distance. This is the quarterback putting the wide receiver. Both of them are harmoniously.
Whatever, Lewis. Working. Lewis says cap blockers. No, sir. No, sir, Lewis. No, sir. No, sir.
Every time Christian Wilkins gets
I'm gonna text you later, Lewis. I'm gonna text you later. And I'm gonna convert Lewis slowly to Tyreek to a 2023 MVP for MVP.
Co-MVP.
And I'm making like the presidential shirts that say like the president's name and the vice president's name. I am making Tua Tyreek 2023 MVP candidate shirts.
Co-MVPs.
Let's go.
But see now, I'll tell you what. Someone do an AI image of it. Uh-oh. Everybody run! Everybody run to Bing. Who's going to do the first? Who's going to be the first one?
Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Hey, want to remind you, if you're watching right now, Miami Sports Music and Tailgreeter will be in Washington, D.C. on December the 2nd and December the 3rd for the FedEx Takeover. If you guys want to go to it, go to tailgreeter.com or download the app and search FedEx Takeover. We still have limited amount of tickets for the all-inclusive tailgate, and we still have bus tickets available to and from the hotel that we're partnered up with, which, by the way, there's still hotel rooms available through Hilton. There's just no more group rate, but we do have that there. And then obviously the all-inclusive tailgate as well. And Saturday night is a free meet and greet at the Admiral in DC in DuPont Circle. And if you want to go to that, RSVP for the Saturday night meet and greet on Tailgreeter. I'm I'm super excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be 10 times better than Philly. It's going to be 100 times better than Philly. And we had some fun in Philly on Saturday. That Saturday night Philly event was crazy. Was crazy.
Oh, that was awesome. Fantastic event. That was.
Are you going to? You're not going to DC.
I'm going to DC.
You're going to DC. You're going to the FedEx Takeover.
I'm driving down to DC, and I will be there. I'll get myself.
Are you going on Saturday night?
I'll be there. I haven't confirmed logistics yet, but I am planning on getting down there for the weekend.
Team Jason, Team Steven strikes again. Let's go.
I'm too perfectly located this year to not go to like the trifecta right by me. Baltimore, Washington, Jets, you know?
Baltimore's going to be crazy too.
It's too easy.
All right, let's talk about the Dolphins when it comes to Mike McDaniel in play calling. Over the next 5 weeks, we're going to probably criticize, scrutinize, comb with a pick everything that McDaniel does as far as play calling is concerned, because it's going to be like, well, how is he going to make this call in the Dallas game? Or how is he going to make this call when we're facing, Baltimore in Baltimore, or the last game of the year against Buffalo at home? What do you want to see from McDaniel as far as play calling is concerned? We'll start with the game this Sunday against Vegas.
Oh boy, ideally, and I'm going to sound like this is like a very obvious kind of formula to win. Get up early, run the ball. Simple. If you're also, I'll say, if the running game is just gashing, keep it going. Like, keep it going. If they are gaining more than 5 yards per play on a rush, just keep it going. It keeps the clock going. It keeps your defense rested. Throw when you need. But to me, I need to see the run game work to the point where they're keeping it going. And I would have no problem with 2 8-minute drives back to back. Like, could they be capable of that? That would be phenomenal. And I think I would love to see a little bit more continuing usage of the rush when it's working. And everything else I'm good with.
If McDaniel decides to abandon...
One other thing. When you need a yard or two, get a yard or two. Don't get cute where the ball carrier is 2-3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. In any case, in any scenario in the world, first 1 or 2 yards, go forward. That's all.
Let's pause this for a second. Let's go back to 2 games in particular. The first half of the Kansas City game and the first quarter of the Carolina game. We get down 14-0 to Carolina. We get down 21-0 to Kansas City. Why is the offense struggled in those first halves or the first quarter of those games? And what do we need to do so that doesn't happen moving forward?
The Panther game was, they went down, but there was no question that they were just going to turn the gas on. Like, there was no question. Mm-hmm. The opponent, the way that they were looking, I was there. I
was never worried that we were going to lose that game at all.
Exactly.
But still, to talk about slow starts is something that some of the fan base is like, we can't do a slow start against these good teams when we face them in December.
I disagree. I would like not that to happen. I would look, idealistically, you would love first possession, touchdown, first defensive possession, interception, then a touchdown. It's 14-9. It doesn't always happen that way. That's why they play 4 quarters. Now, ideally, remember, you got to throw, maybe there's a little bit of a rust aspect in there. They haven't played in 2 weeks. They flew back, had a bye week, whatever. A couple of people are coming back in. So if their first 2 possessions don't yield points, but they end up winning the game 31-10, who the hell cares? That's just the way I see it. It's like complaining week 1 that they couldn't stop the run. Now they're a top-end rush defense team. This is a society, and no offense, fan base, where we've thrown patience out the window with the first series.
Because people have PTSD from prior
teams. No, it's not PTSD. It's ADHD.
Well, look, for years, I say it's PTSD because for years, the look of the Dolphins have always been they play to the level of their opponent. So yes, they are a better team,
right?
But they play to the level of their opponent. Now, I want to state for the record that's not true this year, in my opinion.
Correct. Major difference.
But it has been in past years. And so I think people still kind of have that in the back of their minds, especially when you have a slow start like you did in Carolina or in Miami against Carolina or against Kansas City in Germany.
You want to know what's funny? You bring me to a point. And like last year, I'm not a country music fan, but there was an amazing award for the new artist. He had a great speech. One of the greatest things he said was the windshield is bigger than the rear view mirror. I don't live my life that way. That is my massive problem in life, is I literally think about that more than I look forward to this. The only thing in the world right now that I go against that is Miami Dolphins football. Because the post-traumatic stress of years past, we're in a different zone. We're in a different world than that. Since 2019 is the time that I've circled as this group of what they've been trying to do. 2019. This is now the culmination year or two. And I believe it's going to happen. I honestly, truly do. And I've never in my life had that feeling. And I tell you all, I suffer from anxiety and a lot of the things that, Stephen, you mentioned too. Mm-hmm. I've never had a clearer head in my life than this team. For 30 years, this team has done.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I have been saying this now for, and it's funny because there are people in the chat that are like, Stephen, you're being a homer. Stephen, you're being a homer. And look, I'm a Dolphins fan. I get that. I think it comes out that way. But I've watched the Dolphins for the last 25, 30 years. I have watched football for the last 25 or 30 years. I played a little bit of the game in high school at a very high level when before I got hurt. And so I'm telling you right now, this is the best the Dolphins have looked since the early 90s, minimum. Okay.
For sure.
93. 93 and
93, 94, 95. And that's
and the early 80s too, when they went to the 2 Super Bowls against the Redskins and the 49ers. This is the best this team has looked. And it doesn't come from, oh my God, they're being flashy. This is hands down the best quarterback since Dan Marino, in my opinion. This is hands down the best receiving corps since the Marx brothers. And you can't deny that for anything. And the defense it's not there yet. Let me just say it is not there yet. But it has flashes of early 2000 defenses. And I think it could eventually get there. So I just think this is the best the Miami Dolphins have looked in recent history. That's for sure.
Let me put something into perspective. From a league ranking yardage standpoint, offensively and defensively, the Dolphins are 1-12 right now, going into this bye week. So that defensive number might have fluctuated, but essentially the top 12 in each category. The last time that this franchise finished top 12 at the end of the season in offensive yardage and defensive yards allowed, both top 10, 1992. That was the last time both sides of the ball have been top 10 in the league from an offensive, defensive.
What did we do that year?
They were first place in the AFC, I believe. AFC East. Let me just double check top of my head. I mean, look, that again, I just referenced they were first place. They were 11-5. I just referenced I don't love to look back. I get that. It goes both ways. But if you want to have fun with when this team has had successes, the parallels to me are really there this year. And I'm not worried about the 20 years that they've had remarkably different inferior teams. They've never had anything remarkably close to this in talent. The coaching is extremely good on both sides of the ball. And here's the last thing I'll say, and then I'll let you get back to your mic. Every year going into my fandom, other than the last year or two, you could have said something, or I could have said something, and someone would have said, yeah, but this. Yeah, but the defense. Yeah, but this. Yeah, but Buffalo. Yeah, but now it's the reverse. You can give me anything in the world, and I'm going to give you a yeah, but in positive for the Dolphins, because I got them all. We all have them that have the faith and the confidence. You give me a negative, I got a yeah, but for you. And I've never been able to go on the reverse side of the coin like that, ever.
You know, I love what the Dolphins are doing and where they're headed and what they got going on. But one of the things that's going to be playing out in the second half of the year is again, I've been a football fan for years, and one of my favorite shows has always been Hard Knocks. And the Miami Dolphins, as of this past Monday, have had the cameras rolling around for Hard Knocks. It debuts on November 21st, so Tuesday next week, I think it is the first episode. And I just want to get your thoughts on what you think about the Miami Dolphins, Tua, Tyreek, Jalen, all these cast of characters and personalities, and the camera being around for the entirety of the second for the rest of the season. Is that, like, I just want to get your thoughts about Hard Knocks with the Dolphins.
I love it. I mean, I have no negative whatsoever about it. I think it's great. It's content. Anything inside, anything behind the curtain, so to speak, to me, kid in a candy store. That's the dream. That's, you show me a picture of a war room. Oh, if we can get in.
It's the music that does it for me.
Right. But to me, I like learning about
and Leaf
all
Schreiber.
that other stuff. Oh, he's the man.
Leaf Schreiber. Look, the Dolphins are clearly the best team in the NFL now. And if you see Tua Tagovailoa, he is doing everything he can to be the quarterback of the future for this franchise. I would love, like, Leaf Schreiber is like on the list of people I want to interview one day, because I love Leaf Schreiber. Best voice ever for a documentary or anything.
Going back to like when the Ravens did, that whole skit thing and
yes,
the talent competition. Going back to,
I got to give my restitution. I told Goose I got to give my restitution.
That was one
it's
of the
funny. I was at that. What year was that? That was 2002, 1, I think. I told Goose I got to give my restitution. I love Shannon Sharp, by the way. Yeah, it is, and that whole skit is just unbelievable. But yeah, man, I love Hard Knocks.
This is a good crew. I mean, there's a lot of, look, you got your superstars. You're going to get your sound bites and your footage from your Tyreeks, from your Javon Hollands. Those are character. Got Christian Wilkins for sure. But I'm looking forward to seeing, I mean, Robert Hunt's going to become a national superstar. I think he's the kind of kid that, the cameras are going to gravitate to, especially once you get to hearing his story. I always say, go do your own research. It's an amazing story. Kid's going to get paid in the offseason. I hope it's us doing so. But he will be a national star, I believe. He got really fun characters and also other stories on this team. And I just hope that they're shown and told appropriately.
For me, I know there's a portion of the fan base that is like, oh, this is going to be a distraction to the team. Look, I look around. We talked about this, I think, a little bit yesterday on the show about, the types of coaches, disciplinarians to how coaches are now, right? And, there's this new wave of coaching, and McDaniel's a part of that new wave. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, who, by the way, are all part of the same coaching tree. And, they all have had success, right? McVay's won a Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan's, has he been to a Super Bowl? I think he's been. If he hasn't been, he's been to a couple of NFC Championship games. And, and obviously I'm hoping that McDaniel wins a Super Bowl. I think he's the guy that's going to get out of that coaching staff over the hump. Actually, wait, McVay won it, so never mind. but I hope that he's there with McVay holding up a Super Bowl trophy come February. But just looking at the team, I say, look, part of the reason that shows like Hard Knocks become distractions in the locker room are because there's no, like, people placate to the camera, and there's jealousy, there's the cohesiveness of the locker rooms, there's whatchamacallit, there's this side of the locker room and that side of the locker room. People have their friends, and don't get it twisted, I think every workplace environment has a little something like that. But I have seen, even all the way in this offseason, Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard and some of the guys in the secondary sitting courtside at the Knicks, along with Mike McDaniel. Right?
I'll tell you, the secondary is tight. They are like a frat.
Christian Wilkins and Zach Seiler are best friends. Like,
there is a lot of camaraderie on this team. Like, there's literally a lot.
And so, but everybody kind of knows everybody too, right? Everybody knows Tyreek Hill is going to be Tyreek Hill, right? There's nothing new there. Everybody knows that, Jalen Waddle's a very funny individual, and Hard Knocks is going to eat Jalen Waddle up. They're going to love Jalen Waddle. And Javon Holland too. I agree with you. Javon's also a pretty funny guy as well. So I think that, the cameras are going to fall in love with those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think
100%.
the best part about having this team is having a guy like McDaniel that's already kind of set a precedent in the locker room that this isn't going to be a distraction. We're going to be fine. We're going to come here. We're going to do our job. Yes, there's going to be cameras. Yes, people are going to see the ins and outs of this, but we're not going to allow it to placate, what this team does, the success of this team or non-success of this team. So I don't think that it's going to be a distraction. I think that no Dolphins fan, no football fan in general is not going to watch this. I think this will be the most watched Hard Knocks in probably the last 5 to 7 years.
I think you have the perfect coach to not just welcome this, because clearly he has, but he is going to run with this. No football term or pun intended. But I have a feeling that not only is he going to embrace this, but he's probably going to, from almost like a joking standpoint, bring it in as a character. You know what I mean? Like the fourth wall. Like, he's now welcoming us all in. And I think there will be funny references. I think there will be his personality showing. And I wouldn't be surprised if the guy's freaking writing material already. If I have a feeling, if someone says you cannot do sports or football, what would you like to be? I think this man wants to write for Saturday Night Live, or a stand-up comedian. He tries every aspect that he can to hit that punchline. He does. And I think he's a funny dude.
Most
and I think
people that would be a problem, but for him, it's not. It's not. This is not an issue.
This is giving, fuel to a man's fire. Yeah. That's going to let us all feast on what he's going to produce with laughs.
I'm telling you right now, it's going to be must-watch television. I'm not getting paid by HBO. I'm not getting paid by the NFL. I'm not getting paid by Hard Knocks. But I promise y'all on everything, I'm going to be watching every Tuesday Night Live, because I'm actually thinking about streaming myself watching Hard Knocks. Like, that's how much I love Hard Knocks.
And let me just also put it in perspective. If I send you all on the task of looking at the roster of folk from the last time the Dolphins were on Hard Knocks,
7-Eleven, baby. 7-Eleven, Chris Hogan.
No, but I'm talking from top to bottom, from executive chair to last man on the bench. We're talking
Joe Philbin, Vontae Davis.
I don't even want.
I go call my grandma. Ocho Cinco. Hey man, you're gonna need to bail me out when I come back this weekend. 48 hours later.
Miami Dolphins legend, 85. But I'll tell you, you can't have post-traumatic stress to a team that essentially facelifted itself. Literally to stadium, organization, ownership, management, everything was facelifted. Everything.
And for the people and Liv, I see your comment. It said, "Screw Hard Knocks. I want that hard Lombardi."
Imagine if they tracked it. Imagine if they hit it. But imagine if they hit it. Imagine if HBO said, I cannot believe we actually hit this, and we're the team to do it. If they roll those cameras all the way from now to the confetti, that's like hitting Bitcoin before anyone knew what Bitcoin was, and then cashing out before whatever, you know? But like, correct me if I'm wrong, Steven. I don't have all these Hard Knocks in seasons in the back of my mind, but
there's only been 3 of them. There's only been
right. Has anyone been a legitimate Super Bowl
contender? Arizona was not great. And I want to say was it Arizona and Dallas, I think, have been the 2 in-season Hard Knocks.
So here's what we should expect. So while you're looking at that, so essentially here's what we should expect. We should expect a playoff push. We should expect a division push. We should expect Gatorade on the coach when hopefully he wins the division, or in the locker room when he's celebrating. Plenty of victory speeches because they're going to probably rattle off 6, 7, 8 wins. So why are we upset? We're going to be witnessing, hopefully, a behind-the-scenes trip of a Super Bowl run.
Colts.
This is gold. This is gold, folks. I don't think it's going to be a distraction. I think if people get out of the locker room, if they don't have an obligation and they want to be off camera,
Now, here's another thing I want people to realize. There was a documentary that went viral during COVID, during the shutdown. Maybe you remember it. Had to do with the second greatest basketball player of all time in Michael Jordan. Yes, I said the second greatest, to LeBron James. I'll give myself the thing. Second greatest basketball player of all time. Okay. There were cameras following around that entire team for that championship run in 1998. Now, granted, they already had 5 rings. I'll give you that. But
wait a second. Refresh my memory, Steven. How many championship finals series did Jordan lose? Go on.
He only went to 6.
And he was 6-0.
LeBron's been to double that. Sir.
My brother in all things holy. He had Bill Cartwright. He had John Paxson. He had B.J. Armstrong. He had no one else other than Scotty, and then Kukoc and Rodman at max.
Look, we're not going to compare goats to goats. LeBron is the GOAT, and that's all that needs to be said. And this is my show, and as far as I'm concerned, what I say goes. And LeBron is the GOAT. Okay. Thank you.
Nope.
Good night. Have a nice day with that. All right.
Yeah,
what I do want to say is that there's at least a precedent of a championship team being followed around by cameras in a very personal, setting, and them still going through and winning a championship. I think I would love to think in my mind that the Dolphins and Hard Knocks could be that we get an inside view of a team that makes the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl. Do you know how awesome that and how crazy that content could be for the NFL? It'll be insane.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. If they go have cameras on the Dolphins, I feel like they should show footage of the end at the season, not during the season. I hear you. I don't know. We live in a different world now. And you have to placate to the younger generation. And this is stuff that helps with the younger generation. Finn Sasson with his $10 donation. Appreciate it, Finn Sasson. You're the man. You're the man, Finn Sasson. Yeah, I mean that's what I would do. Lewis says, "Stop the cap, boo this man." MJ changed basketball.
Time out. What is not a cap with Lewis? Like, okay. What is a bald head?
Okay. All right. So cap.
Like seriously, I know what I mean. I know what it means.
I thought I had to give you.
No, I know what it means. What topic in the world are we going to talk about within this Dolphins that's not a cap in the mind of Lewis? I'm just very curious.
Yeah, Lewis. Yeah, Lewis.
I'm just very curious because everything's
I'm
a cap.
curious, Lewis. Do you ever not cap, sir?
Take the hat off. Let the hair grow, Lewis.
I'm gonna call you Cap Lewis. That's your new name, Cap Lewis. Like it. Artful Dodger says LeBron James can't even spell Air Jordan. LeBron is not the GOAT. Boo this man. MJ changed basketball and played in there where he prevented greats from getting chips. What are we doing here? Y'all take for granted what you see on the court for the last 20 years. Y'all been taking for granted the GOAT that we have witnessed, the greatness that we have witnessed.
No one's denying the greatness. No one is denying the greatness.
No, but they are. The Jordan haters are, Jason.
I'm able to.
I mean, the LeBron haters are.
LeBron James is great, but there are two
LeBron
assassins.
James is better than great.
There are two assassins there are three assassins who have played this game that I have watched that I could say literally would not let these other people wrong them. It is Michael Jordan, it is Kobe Bryant, and then the biggest assassin of them all, Larry Bird. Larry Bird would make people foolish.
Are you sitting there?
You have no idea. You have no idea what Larry Bird did.
That Larry Bird is better than LeBron James.
I didn't say that. You misheard me.
Okay, I didn't hear you. I need to make sure you're saying it. You know what, Jason? Since we're doing this, give me your top five. Give me your top five right now. 5 through 1. Go.
You want to hear how I do this? And this is I've had a lot of time doing NBA stuff, as you know.
Yeah,
so I separate
the NBA. I know.
I separate centers into their own category. So I will give you a top 5 in centers, and I can give you a top 5.
But no, I want all-time greatest top 5.
I can't put 5 centers in the list with 5 guards. But you want to hear it? All right, fine. You want me to really do it?
Jason.
You want me to? People like me. It's Michael Jordan number 1. It's Michael Jordan number 1.
Okay.
It's
wrong.
However you want to slice the next 3, Kobe, Magic, Bird. And then I'm going to give you you have to put Bill Russell, the Will Chamberlain, or one of the best centers that have the
You don't have LeBron in your top 5?
I will put it all time. I literally cannot put. I can't put. You have to put LeBron over Magic Johnson. He's better than Magic Johnson. He's better than Magic Johnson.
I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed. Better than Magic Johnson. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed in you.
Nope. I'm sorry. LeBron James is in the top.
I have to rethink everything about you, Jason. I have to rethink everything with Jason.
Top 6.
You don't even have LeBron in your top 5. I'm so upset with you right now.
I have Michael Jordan.
Screw it.
I have Michael Jordan, the guy who took basketball. All right, let me backtrack it a little bit. There is no LeBron James without the Larry Bird and Magic Johnson rivalry. That's number 1. And what Larry Bird did to Magic Johnson was made that man so obsessed with winning because he couldn't beat Bird. And then he started to. But then Michael Jordan said, no, I want to take over the league. So he did. And then Kobe Bryant said, I want to emulate Michael Jordan. And he did. And you know what LeBron did? He mixed Magic Johnson and Michael together very, very well. And is probably compared more so in my basketball mind to the next coming of Magic Johnson from rookie year. I was sitting in the NBA doing his first game against Sacramento Kings on ESPN on a Friday night at a 9:30 start. I said, we're looking at the next Magic Johnson, not the next Michael Jordan, because he's already here. It's Kobe Bryant. We've been having it wrong. You can't compare the game of LeBron to Michael Jordan because the game of Michael Jordan is Kobe Bryant.
I just hear you talking words right now. I'm talking
my opinion.
Jason,
I'm talking my opinion.
Never in my life been more upset and disappointed with one of my friends than I am right now with you. You don't even have LeBron in your top 5. I don't want to hear it. I'm
not bashing LeBron. It's so hard to put.
And everybody, and what bothers me is that everybody in the chat is backing you on this. I don't like it.
Listen, I love basketball.
I'm
It's my
against
first
y'all.
love.
I'm against
No,
all
you
y'all.
have to understand.
Get
And I
all
know
y'all.
this is a football show. I know it's a football show. But basketball to me is religion. And my family, it's like religion. And like growing up,
I
there's
still
so
think
many great
the greatest story ever told to me was your story of working in the NBA.
That anniversary is now. That's the anniversary. It's like today.
Video offices during
Today's
the
the anniversary, I
Palace, that you were such an integral part with the NBA. It's the greatest story you've ever told me. And honestly, it's probably the greatest sports story I've ever been told, or somebody directly affected to something that big.
It was non-family wise, and we're not telling the story again. This is how I like to say it. It was the greatest night of my life that ended up being a fun weekend. It was a weekend at work. Not
60 hours working that weekend after the Malice.
Friday to Sunday. It was awesome.
Now you got me all
But my
worked up.
point is, listen, there is 10 basketball players, 3 centers, 6. And look, you got to put Karl Malone on a list of top 10. It's so hard to not put people. Basketball is a tough sport to lump them up because centers are different than guards. You can't put it's apples and oranges, So I like to compare by position: the shooting guard, the point forward, small forward, point guard, the Magics and the LeBron. Those are the two. It's 1-1A in that world. Just like
LeBron is the great. You know what? I'm glad you just said that, because I'm gonna get me a LeBron.
But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
How many? And I'm going off the top of my head. You can go back onto stats if you want. How many league defensive players of the year has LeBron James won? I'm going to give you the answer. 0. Michael Jordan has 1. How many defensive first teams does Michael Jordan have? About 9. LeBron has half of those. How many years has LeBron James played? A lot more than Jordan. Michael Jordan decided one night in the Olympics to not allow Tony Kukoc to touch a basketball. Do you know how many points Tony Kukoc scored against the Dream Team? I think 1. He said to Scottie Pippen, because he knew that the Bulls wanted Tony Kukoc, we are shutting this MFer down. And he did that. On both sides of the ball, Michael Jordan was a cold-blooded murderer.
Coming to this door.
That's it.
You know what? I was gonna try to find a local artist to do like a Dolphins logo on these 2 doors. I'm now not gonna do that. I am now getting LeBron James life-size like cutout and putting it on that door.
But it's
people
fine.
will know that I'm gonna get a picture of a goat and put it right next to them. So everybody that ever watches my show knows that LeBron James is the GOAT. There is no other GOAT. I want to hear it. I want to hear about nothing else. Nothing. LeBron. I'm gonna be just like, remember those Muffets in the Sprite commercial with Kobe and LeBron? It's gonna be LeBron. That's what it's gonna be. Yes, Manalo, I do fanboy much. I don't care. And I'll tell you real quick where it comes for me, just so people know, is I'm 35 years old. I admit that I didn't grow up in the Jordan era. I remember Jordan. I remember watching him. 98 years old. I was 10 years old. I remember watching the last couple of years of Jordan.
I'll put it into perspective.
But hold on. Let me finish. But the reason my love is so big for LeBron is, number one, I remember him being on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school saying, and I'm, similar in age to him, where I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Like, somebody that's a kid like me is on the cover of Sports Illustrated for something that I love, is sports. And I remember watching St. Vincent, St. Mary's on ESPN. And I was such a huge fan of him from high school, from the jump. And I was in awe. I was in awe of how great he was at such a young age. And throughout his entire career, the man has literally, and I'm not saying he's Jesus, I'm not saying he's perfect, But the man ain't done nothing off the court that's been even closely, remotely scrutinized in a negative platform.
Steven, listen.
His number one knock is that he did a decision, and that knock raised $1 million for charity.
Steve, you have to listen to what I'm saying. I am not knocking his ability. He's got phenomenal, probably the most physically gifted basketball player to ever touch a hard court. You hear what I just said? Probably the most physically gifted individual to touch a hard court. Now, here's the thing. There is an intangible aspect to the game of basketball that 0.0001% of its players have. I've named the 2 of them, maybe 3. LeBron needed to start the super team era. LeBron didn't also win every one of his series. LeBron has also been in a lot more seasons than Jordan, and LeBron has load managed. He's taken games off. Jordan, if you look at Michael Jordan is, as far as I'm concerned, the closest thing to God I've watched ever as an athlete. And
LeBron is
the next level. No, but I appreciate that. But in terms of Jordan, I watched him growing up, and all of us watching him growing up,
11 straight NBA finals, Jason,
because he was able to construct everything he needed to help him get there. That's it. Because watching without internet, watching without Twitter in 1993 on a Sunday in March, watching Michael Jordan take the game over, and all of a sudden you're looking on the stat line and he's like 16 of 20 and he hasn't missed in 30 minutes. And all of a sudden the Bulls are putting together some of the most poetry of the basketball you'd ever see. The ball would be rebounded. It wouldn't hit the ground. Jordan would dunk it. And then you're like, oh my God, this team is unbelievable. And it was all Jordan. And then you realize there were 3 good players on it.
I think 3 things real quick, and then we're going to get back to a little bit of Dolphins talk. I think 3 things on why LeBron gets the hate that he gets. Number 1, the decision. Okay. People still hate on him for that to this day. And by the way, if that's the worst thing he ever did, he raised $1 million for kids' charity.
What he does off the court is phenomenal too. I'm not down with that. But Michael Jordan's the greatest.
He's amazing. Now, with that being said, the other reason is because he's lost NBA finals
a lot.
When we all know that he is the sole reason that they got to those finals. I'm not saying that he's the sole reason they won all the ones that he won, but Michael needed Scotty to get his other champion, his 6th championship ring. Scotty's a top 50 player.
You take 2 of those 3. You take 2 of those triplets off of all those teams. LeBron ain't winning those finals, my man. Scotty's a top 50 player, absolutely. But you have to understand how good Michael Jordan is. Michael Jordan, before Scotty, was also dealing with the Pistons, the Lakers, and the Celtics in the East. I'm sorry, the Celtics and the Pistons in the East and the Lakers in the West. We have to go into history here.
Look at those last 3 years of Chicago. Those teams were stacked. Stop it.
Stacked. They had 3 stacked. Listen, Steven, the first 3 championships that Jordan won was after they dethroned the other dynasties in the league that finished their dynasties, right? And we're talking about Bill Cartwright, Horace Grant, B.J. Armstrong, Will Perdue. Stop it. The second teams, Tony Kukoc, Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Pete Myers, right? Stop it.
Stephen D, stick to baseball. You at least know.
We're going to go to basketball. I mean, I'm about to start my own malice right now. Michael Jordan is by himself. He has an angel halo. He's by himself.
Stop it.
He's by himself.
The blasphemy that is being spewed on my channel this morning is just redonkulous. Redonkulous. Mike needed Scotty. Y'all stop it. He never would have won 6 championships without Scotty. Never. Guess what? Guess what the Chicago Bulls did when Jordan retired for 2 years? They still went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Guess what happened when LeBron left Cleveland? They were the worst team in the NBA.
Because everyone left with him. Everyone.
There was nobody there. He took Zildjianis Ilgauskas and Anderson Varejao to an NBA Finals. Stop it. Just stop it. You sound crazy, Jason. I love you. I love the LeBron. Look, I get worked up on it, but it's a fun.
I haven't had a migraine in 2.5 years.
People are so passionate about it.
I literally haven't had a migraine in 2.5 years. It's back. It's back.
Oh my goodness. The Artful Dodger said, what did Scottie Pippen do in Portland? What did Damian Lillard do in Portland? Nothing. Nobody can win in Portland.
Michael Jordan is so cold. His son is now dating Scottie Pippen's wife. Let's go.
I feel bad for Scottie on that one. I'm sorry. You played second fiddle your entire career, and then you lose your wife to his son? Man.
I love Scottie Pippen too. I love Scottie. Scottie Pippen was almost
man.
You want to get really mad? You want to get really watch Steven get really mad. You want to know who is the first LeBron? Scottie Pippen. Play the same game. Same kind of game.
If I could kick you
same
off
kind of
right
game.
now.
Same kind of game.
I'm so upset.
Point forward. I know. I'm making you really upset right now.
True OG Stephen D.
And by the way,
to teach him how to win a title, just like MJ needed Pippen to get there. Let's be real, fam. Jason, thank you for cooking. Steven, you sound crazy.
I got one more thing for dessert.
LeBron,
I got one more thing for dessert.
Brought to you by Pete Steaks.
let me tell you something. My 8-year-old Jordan. My 8-year-old. What did I say my son's name was? My 8-year-old Jordan. Let me repeat that. My 8-year-old named Jordan was very excited to see Space Jam 2.
You named your kid after Michael Jordan?
I named my kid Jordan. I've always wanted to name my kid Jordan, or my first choice was AJ. I was going to name my son Aaron Jordan, but my wife's side already had a cousin named AJ, so I went with Jordan. Always wanted to name my kid Jordan. Maybe something to do with it, but anyway, kid loves his Jordan gear. Anyway, we watched Space Jam 2, 20 minutes in, and this kid loves LeBron James. LeBron James.
Jam 2.
He turned around and said, Dad, this movie stinks.
You know what? Jordan doesn't know good movies.
We watched Space Jam right after, and he was hysterically laughing. My dude loves Bill Murray. Come on now.
I do like Bill Murray, and I like Space Jam 1. And Space Jam 2 is not better than Space Jam 1. I'll give you that. Space Jam 2 is underrated.
It was malware. It was terrible.
It was not terrible. It was not made for adults. It was made for children. And you were brainwashed your child. You were brainwashed your child, so he doesn't count.
It was made for straight to video. That's what it was made for. Straight to video.
They don't even do that anymore. They don't have videos. Although, by the way, I was in Louisiana this past weekend for a funeral, and we drove by a video store, and my son goes, "What's that?" And I said, "Oh, let me explain to you. What we used to do back in the day, we didn't have where we could just stream movies with a click of a button. We had to go to a store, search for an hour to find what we wanted to watch."
And we always got the same thing we got last week. I'm just going to get Rocky again.
And if you were late, you got charged late fees if you didn't bring it back on time.
What a tangent we went on. That's what happens when we talk basketball.
I know. I wasn't expecting to get on that tangent today. What are you doing on Sunday?
Getting ready for the game.
You're not going, right? You're not going.
I'm not. I'm home basing it. Home base.
Why don't you hop on for the pregame show for 10, 15 minutes with me?
You could certainly do that. Absolutely.
Batman's going to be there live. He's going to be doing 2 hours. We're going to hop on for a little bit. So there'll be some guys at the tailgate getting on. So Sunday will be good. Lorenzo in the building, my boy Lorenzo. LeBron James is a graduate of Miami Heat University, the place James went to learn how to win championships. Lorenzo, you stop it. Stop with this Jordan nonsense. It's insane. Steven's movie takes brought to you by Pete's Takes.
Where is Pete? I haven't seen Pete's presence today.
Nike brainwashed y'all. Some of y'all.
No, you know what, Bill's fan. You know who actually brainwashed me to think that Jordan was a god?
Bill fan is agreeing with me.
Bill's fake crowd noise. The guy who brainwashed me to believe that Jordan is God was Michael Jordan.
Was Michael Jordan?
My God.
Dudley Do-Wrong just said he's going to be posting reaction videos after each episode of Hard Knocks. Ooh. Well, Doug, I'm doing the same thing, Doug. Stop it.
I'm going to post reaction videos of me watching this conversation back about Jordan and LeBron.
Jordan, LeBron.
All right, we got to go back to football. We got to segue back.
No, we can stop for the day. It's Spread Kindness Friday. It's been a good show. It's a good
Stephen waving the white flag.
I don't want to do what you know more.
Steven's gonna unfriend me, unfollow me, block me, call the authorities on me.
How dare you spew this blasphemous on my channel today? How dare you?
You know I only speak the truth.
But you didn't. But you didn't.
I don't know,
man.
Not
this time.
I don't know.
All right, Miami Sports Music's #1 Miami fan morning show, Clock Blockers, right here on the Miami Sports Music Podcast Network. Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time, the Tailgreeter pregame show. Monday, the Bearded Fanatic is going to be my co-host on with me on Monday.
Man,
Tuesday.
Nice.
Tuesday, I'm not sure if whatchamacallit will be on with me. DJ Genesis, he might be traveling. But if he does, maybe you come on Tuesday because we're not doing a show Thursday or Friday. I don't even know if I'm doing a show on Wednesday.
Well, Friday I'll be going to the MetLife Takeover, so if you want, we could
I'm not doing a show.
Sports. No, we could do some social streaming content there.
Maybe we can talk about that. That's not a bad idea.
We'll figure
it out. Guys, go follow Jason at Jason_Sarney. Tell him he's amazing. He's a beautiful man. He knows nothing about basketball, but he's a beautiful man. Nothing. Go follow him, please. Steven is not alone. LeBron is 100% in the conversation of the GOAT.
I like how he says in the conversation.
He is the conversation. There is
I like how he says in the conversation. See, I'm not taking him out of the conversation. There are thousands of basketball players. He's in the top 6, which makes him one of the best. But he ain't my Lord and Savior. That's Michael Jordan. No blasphemy there.
Okay. I got a lot of stuff to do. I love you. I hope you have a good show. I hope you had a good show. I hope you enjoyed
great show.
This was fun. I needed this. I think we all needed this. Spread Kindness Friday. I hope you guys had a good show today. Hit the like button. Donate to the channel. If you like Jason's takes, donate to the channel. If you love Jason's takes, donate to the channel. If you hated my takes, donate to the channel.
Either way, it's a win, baby.
It's a win. I love you all. Y'all are the best fans in the world. I'll see y'all on Sunday for the pregame show. It's going to be good. Y'all the best fans, and I will see y'all next time on Clock Blockers, the #1 Miami fan morning show. Peace.
It is to trust the coach, he holds the gift. He knowing when to go with fits, so we knowing when to switch. This year we got the golden pick. Time to see what that pick about. Bad vibes get sent out. Only fans up in this house. We been waiting, yeah, we been patient. Now it's time to cash out, no discount.